All right, Big Man, today is Monday. It is January 2nd. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. It is Snake Draft Monday presented by Miller Lite. We are joined on Zoom by Jeff D. Lowe. Jeff, welcome back.
What's up? It's been a very long time.
Has it? I think the last time was the players you thought would be better.
Yeah, so NFL Draft, yeah.
Yes.
So that was April, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess it just feels like a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. It always feels that way, I feel.
Everybody always seems to complain about that.
Yeah.
They're like, it's been a long time. We've got a lot of people working in this company.
You want to do more stuff, Jeff?
Yeah.
Are you not busy enough? Would you like to do more stuff?
I don't know. I just, every now and then there's a draft that passes by that I'm like, I kind of wish.
What's one is there anyone that really jumps out where you're like, God damn it.
That
you took personally? Is
there
something you took personally?
There was one that was recent that I was like, damn. I wanted that one. I forget what it was though. I like this one though. This is right up my alley though. This is perfect.
Yes, when I think we'll need to lean on you quite a bit as an expert here, Jeff, because we went around the room. Chief, at least before you got here, Carl. Not the biggest Saturday Night Live guy, but I think I could hang around. Chief, you said you were big when you moved around a little bit. You had some free Saturday nights.
Yeah, I just didn't have any friends because we were moving around a lot, so I had to watch SNL at home alone when I was like, I don't know, a younger kid.
Yeah.
Until I was probably like 13, something like that. So
I watched it definitely too early. Like I would recite lines in class in like 5th and 6th grade, and I would get in trouble.
Okay.
Like old clips too. Like my dad would show me old clips, and so I think the expert, no shock, is Kirk at the company. Like Kirk is like very well read on like old SNL.
Yeah,
but
he's also the right age for that.
I feel like I'm pretty well versed.
Okay.
I wish I knew that. Fuck. I needed to know. Like, I need a book on Kirk.
He's trying to cuck you right.
No, not at all. I would have booted your ass off, Dave.
I don't think you would have.
You got to do a movie thing with Kirk. You got to do a movie thing or like a golf thing. You got that's the
Bruce Springsteen playlist draft.
Yeah, something like that.
86 Red Rocks, second day.
Where are you at on this?
I very much enjoy it. Like Saturday Night Live a lot. Curious, Jeff, if you can opine on this before we get going. My sense with Saturday Night Live is that, like, I've been saying it's been going downhill for what feels like 20 years now. But I feel like if you grew up watching Saturday Night Live right when it came out with, like, Aykroyd and shit, you'd be like, well, it's been going downhill since then. Like, if you watched it in the 80s and that's when it was the sweet spot for you, then did you say in the 90s it was going downhill? I guess... Did the iteration of SNL that we grew up on, is that considered a good iteration historically, or do people look back on it and like, oh, that's when it started going downhill?
No, I think it is. I think like the Will Ferrell era, like I think that era of SNL was very good. And I would argue too that I think there was a lot of good stuff from like when I was graduating high school. So like 2009, like that range, like the Lonely Island era. Like I think there was some amazing stuff.
Yes.
But I think to what you just said, Carl, I think whenever you talk about SNL, people who are like older than you, or I guess maybe younger than you, it is a generational thing where like people who grew up with the older stuff are always going to say, the Belushis and all, the Aykroyd, that era was significantly better than the era. But I think even if you don't love like the Lonely Island era, I think like the 90s were like late, and especially those
was primo.
And we don't want to tip picks here, but I do feel like
it's going to be tough not to tip
picks.
Well, there's
so much
shit.
There's
so many good though. It's like I feel like it's not that like when I just said John Belushi. It's not like you guys just went, oh my god, John Belushi. Like I feel like it's not like that.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, the problem
sketches
is
maybe. I think tipping sketches is going to be because I feel like who the staples are.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is when you like so the subcategories here is male cast member, women cast member,
guest host,
sketch, and then SNL movie, which is kind of funny because there's only 11 of them.
That kind of shocked me too.
Because there's so many that I would have thought
there's so many cast members who made movies but
and
only 11 are under the umbrella.
There's ones that people think.
I also think, and I don't think anyone's going to pick it, but you have to rule out the Lonely Island guys movies. Like Hot Rod, Pop Star, like those are SNL adjacent, but like I think it's obvious, but I just
you're right.
That's like a
I said
ruled out.
Totally, yeah. Like there's 11. Like Tommy Boy is not an SNL movie.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man.
And none of the
Yeah.
Sandler ones. Like,
No,
yeah.
like those are not.
That's Happy Madison.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those are not SNL. So it's funny.
Yeah,
like,
it's a firm 11.
Do you have
firm
dip all
11.
over your nose?
Perhaps. Maybe.
That's
it's
a
just
pretty
not-
full spitter you got there. You're leaking on your own face.
going nostril dips.
Yeah. I will say though,
Occupational
you know how they do like the best of clips? I feel like they do them around the holidays quite a bit. I feel like the ones with the people that you know, like you mentioned, Jeff, like the original ones, when I see those, I'm like, these don't really hold up. But it's like they're universally acclaimed as maybe they're so cutting edge in like the 70s that they were like, oh my God, this is incredible. But when I'm watching them in 2000, whatever, I'm like, I don't think it's that funny.
I just showed Chief one before that. Did you say you had seen that one or not?
I had, yeah.
And my dad and I would pull this up in like the early days of YouTube and just laugh hysterically at it. And I asked his opinion. I'm like, I don't know if this would fly like today because of the social and political climate. And I watched it and I'm like, it's kind of funny. But we would like piss our pants every time we watched it.
Well, we don't know what you're talking about.
There's a ton of actually funny you mentioned like this time of year. There's a ton of like holidays thing. Like if you gave me all five rounds or all five like teams and picks, I could pick 5 holiday sketches because there's just so many good holiday ones.
Oh, wow.
I don't even think I'm going to pick one just for like my main one. But, yeah, and then that's true too. People, I mean, I'm one of the skits may come up, but like I know there's a famous Steve Martin skit that people tried to like cancel him over recently, and it's like it was out of context, even though because like the whole point of the sketch was that like
Yeah.
the SNL's biggest issue I think in the last 10 years or so, and I don't really watch it anymore, is the inability to end a sketch. Like
Drags.
the ending of sketches are just so bad sometimes.
Put the bow on it.
And just brutal and awkward. And there's just and you go back and you look at old SNL into like the 90s, like they never had that issue. And I think nowadays too, SNL leans way too heavy on impressions. Way too heavy. Just like everything is now they do that stupid, I guess they do like the Family Feud with Keenan Top. I mean, I guess if you want to pick that, I'm sorry, I just tipped your pick. That's a crazy pick. Insane. If you pick Family Feud. But like it's so much about impressions and what celebrity can come in to play Fauci. It's just so much about a celebrity playing somebody or an impression. It drives me nuts.
You know what they need? They need Nick Turini writing their sketches for them.
They can be a great sketch writer. They do write. They write funny sketches. Yeah.
I mean, Nick would do a great job.
They have those.
I think kill it.
The Destroy guys are on the show now. Like there are some talented people that are on SNL. Like, no doubt. But just like, I just the show. It's the ending of sketches, and they just lean so heavy on impressions.
Yeah, I don't think it's a lack of talent though. I don't at all. I think it's like they're on network TV. They're probably very handcuffed.
They're
there's probably
towing
a lot.
the line.
There's
They
probably
don't
a
wanna
lot
get
behind the
canceled.
scenes. Yeah, there's a ton of talent in that building. I guarantee it.
Didn't they
yeah.
always? They've always been playing by those FCC rules, I guess, though.
Yeah, but the climate just is fucking
That's
insane.
true. Yeah,
The climate's nuts.
Those rules
I
might
brought-
have had to change. The social rules
Yeah,
definitely changed.
I brought this up on Dog Walk a couple weeks ago about how it's interesting how 2 shows that have been on forever and one just gets a pass for severely declining and one gets roasted every time it's on with SNL and The Simpsons. Like everyone thinks like, oh, like, you know, Simpsons is why I don't know if it's like the decline hasn't been as sharp or what. I'm not as well as in tune with both shows and the history and how they are now. But, and, you know, and I said it's probably because it's like the characters didn't change and it's like you're not going to, if you loved Homer at one point, you're not going to hate him as much. One guy tweeted at me, he's like, hey, actually, I'm like a diehard Simpsons 2 through 10 season guy. And like, I fucking despise what they've done to Homer. Like they made him an idiot. And like,
He was
that's
always
not
an
what the
idiot.
show
That was his-
Yeah, but
No.
he was always kind of like oriented
Yes.
towards being good and oriented towards his family, even though he
Yeah.
was an idiot. And I haven't kept up with it recently.
So they have a lot
That's
more
the big
guns.
complaint, right?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, turn him into like big doofus bozo who like
Yeah.
doesn't have like any sense of anything.
Any
He's a big
character. Yeah.
moron.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was big Simpsons probably 2 through, I don't know the years, but maybe till like 2004.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was like I loved The Simpsons. Like watch it when you come home. It used to be on like like, you know, you watch back-to-back episodes, I feel like from 5:30 to 6 or whatever. 5:30 and 6. And then yeah, like that show, I think it's because it went downhill so long ago that it's just like people forget it's even on TV. So it's hard to roast something you're not even like aware.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation though.
Yeah.
They're also realizing a lot of their jokes. Like a lot of the shit that they've made fun of in like the night, like it's got to be harrowing to be like behind that show and writing it, and then 25 years later, like, hey, a lot of that stuff that you were writing as like humor is now coming true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they also same thing with like the political climate. Like they had to apologize, and they are not doing like the Apu character.
Yeah,
anymore,
Apu,
something
yeah.
like that. So,
Yeah, shit like that.
Right.
Cannot.
Yeah.
It's true. All right then. And then last thing before we do the order here, I'll just say like we've already done before here. It's just going to be hard to take a cast member and not talk about some of their stuff. So like tipping picks is going to kind of be almost impossible in this draft. So it is what it is.
I mean, there's just, again, I think it's like maybe someone will say like a really obscure one, but for the most part, it's I don't know, especially on cast members, especially that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Tipping picks matters.
Cough drop.
Tipping picks matters more when there's a threat for bad picks. So, like, there is really no threat that someone makes a pick where you go, what the fuck? That? I mean, we can't come up with 5 great cast members. Like, there's going to be a lot of I would imagine most of this is like, that's awesome. Now, it's almost then, too, when I say that, it makes a bad pick that much better.
Yeah, that is an interesting point, though. Like, now, if Dave was ready to take Family Feud, I would have loved to see Jeff shit on him. So that is kind of funny. So we'll see. So use your best judgment and with your critiques and whatnot. I don't know. So we'll see where we go. We'll navigate. We'll do the best we can. All right, Jeff. Harry is number 1 through 5. Behind his back, what number is it?
2.
No.
Carl.
1.
No.
Chief.
3.
No.
4.
Yes.
I'll go with the second pick.
All right. Second pick, 1 through 4 for me. Harry, I'm going to go with number 2.
No.
Jeff.
3.
Yes.
I'll go number 1.
Carl.
I like that.
1 through 3.
1.
Yes.
3rd.
Chief, 1 or 2?
2.
Yes.
I'll go 4th.
Fuck.
I think it's fine to have 5 personally.
Yeah, I just...
I don't really think the order matters too much.
I
as a
do
whole.
because I
You
think
do?
there are a couple categories. Like you said, there's only 11 movies.
Yeah, I'm not the
so-
sharpest.
There's I took 1 because there's 1 category. I have literally only 2 options,
Oh.
and everything else I don't care who I get.
Okay.
Okay. The order here is Jeff, White Sox, Dave, Carl, Chief, Eddie. Before we get going, I want to talk about the great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. From holiday gatherings and office parties to fireside conversations and football Sundays, winter means more moments with coolest people in your life. Make these moments even better with Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer. A new year is a perfect time for friends, family, and great tasting light beer. It's Miller time. Why is it the perfect light beer for beer lovers? Carl?
Delicious. Goes well with pretzels. This time of season.
I feel like you need one.
Dude, you know what?
Yeah, are you all right over there?
It's because I accidentally put a fucking pretzel in my mouth when I started talking recently. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I had I love Miller Lite. It's delicious. And this is the best time of the year. I'd like to apologize again. This is the best time of the year. Why?
You gotta have a 96 calorie beer.
Everybody outside, the fridge is outside. Porch
Yeah,
beer
it
is
is.
in
I like that.
play. Now it's supposed to get a little. Don't leave them out too much over Christmas time because I think it's supposed to get so cold that
You don't
they
like a
should
slushie?
explode.
Yeah.
But there's something about having just a case of Miller Lite ripped open in the middle off the back porch, slide the
right.
door open. You know.
I like a 96 calorie option during the holidays too. Everything you're packing on weight, 96 calories is manageable. 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces is the absolute best. And I'm with you on the back porch slushy beers too.
Right.
Miller
Yeah.
Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers made from simple ingredients. Miller Lite is for people who love the taste of beer. Malted barley gives it the rich, balanced toffee note flavors and the golden color you know and love. And a clean finish means it's always refreshing and easy to drink. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/redline to find the delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Question:
Yes.
does a skit? Does it have to be like something that's acted out live, or can it be like a pre-recorded? It can be any type of bit, right?
It was just
Yeah.
on the show. That's how I took
As long as it
it.
aired on the show.
Oh, I mean, it was sketches. Sketches was
Oh.
in my head. Like sketches was what was sent. But I mean, I'd be willing to.
What's the?
Well, I guess now.
I don't know.
I'm
I think if it
confused.
airs
Are we
on the
talking
show, it airs on the
monologues.
show.
Yeah, if it aired on the show, I'm not talking about like. Fucking,
You know when they cut to commercial and there's a fake commercial.
Oh, I think that plays.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
That's
cool.
what-
with
so
it.
that's what
show,
I'm asking.
though.
So
Yeah, I mean,
you're
that's
cool
fine.
with it, but what was your intent?
Because
or-
what does the Lonely Island Boys do? What's that called? A digital short?
That flew
It's a
right
digital
over
short,
my head.
yeah.
Digital short.
Saturday
yeah.
TV Funhouse commercials.
Oh yeah, those,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
those.
like for
Yeah,
sure.
those
Yeah, like
definitely-
listen, yeah. if you-
Everything's in
like,
play.
Sure,
Let's
go
address
for it.
one
Yeah.
now.
It could
What
be
do
a
you do- what do you
one-off
do if
or
you pick Weekend Update?
recurring.
So how do we want to just
Yeah,
give me
because
the
then you could
how
say
to-
recurring skit where
Yeah.
Dave's saying there's a bunch of
I
those.
think you can pick. I think you can pick Weekend Update, but I think if you pick Weekend Update, you have to pick
Your cast.
era of Weekend Update.
Okay.
Like I don't think you can just pick all of like if you want to take X plus X or just the X like you can take Weekend Update, but I think you can only take. I think you have to leave the rest open.
That's right.
Do you want to do 8 categories?
I think that makes it a little too specific.
We're
In
gonna
my
leave so much
opinion.
meat on the table, like or
Yeah.
bone or
Yeah.
whatever the fucking
Well,
saying
let's
is.
see what Jeff has for.
Yeah,
for
let's
Yeah,
see
this
where
what
we
do
go.
you got,
Let's
Jeff?
see where we
Kick
go.
us
I don't know,
off.
I'd be the only one. I think if it's a recurring sketch, you get all of the ones, but I think Weekend Update is way different. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
I
Weekend
think
Update,
you're
you gotta
right
be
about
specific.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, kick us off, Jeff. Kick us off.
I'm gonna go guest host because I think guest host is just I think most of them are horrible. There's a lot of really good ones, but there's one in general that for me is I just think he was the best. He didn't host the most, but I think he always was funny, and there's always just banger skits, and that's Justin Timberlake.
He was on my board.
guest.
Yep.
He's hilarious in them.
I mean, he's just fucking
Yeah,
supremely talented.
he's
In
very
everything
funny.
he does.
See it, dude.
Again, this is where it's going to come
Oh,
into the tipping pick stuff. But him dressed up as a mascot, always funny when he does the song, trying to get money. Obviously, all the Lonely Island stuff that he did. This is the smallest pool I think of like really good picks. So I'm going JT. Like everyone else, I think I'm gonna have a pick of who I want. So.
Also, should be noted too. Sorry, should have said this. A former cast member is not allowed to be drafted as a guest host. We said that in
Right,
the text
yeah.
group.
I think
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
very
very
lame.
lame.
Yeah. I think totally great pick as far as guest hosts go. However, it is interesting one overall.
I
Gonna
completely
say
agree.
that.
And I was figuring because I took the second overall, I wanted Jeff because I thought he was going to take a more obscure pick. I wouldn't have taken it number 1 overall, though he is absolutely on the pantheon of all-time great guest hosts. He's as good
I just
as it
know
gets.
that I can get. I go 8 to 12 deep on every other category,
Totally.
and I would consider at least 4 or 5 of them a top pick. So it's like whatever. Take the one where I feel like I'm going to run out quick.
I get your reasoning, and I love your reasoning. However, when you do these, people don't take kind to that strategy for whatever reason. They just see red
Of
when
course.
when they see like SNL Draft and they see Timberlake going 1-1.
What do you
Yeah.
mean,
Yes,
Timberlake?
that's like they're gonna be like that's the fucking stupidest
shit
thing
down your
ever.
throat.
Like all that, like so from that perspective, like draft strategy, good move. From like how SNL works, and I mean it's bold. It's bold. You guys got anything?
No, I think he's a great pick. Obviously, there's something about the opening monologue, and it opens, and sometimes you see it's like, oh, that's interesting to see how they're going to put an opening monologue together. Like Justin Timberlake is just so smooth and polished and wonderful. He can operate in so many different capacities. Is like the dude could host the fucking Oscars, then show up the next day and tap dance his way on Broadway, and then star in a movie, then sell out Madison Square Garden, then go bang Jessica Biel,
Then shoot
then be-
74.
Right.
Yeah.
A scratch golfer, Nashville guy. Who doesn't like Justin Timberlake? And the evolution, too, to come up as like Mickey Mouse into NSYNC. So much stuff where it's like, man, it's hard. That's hard, dude. All that stuff's in his
Those
past,
people
his legacy.
don't end up.
And he just kept getting cooler and
Yes.
cooler and cooler.
Those people usually succumb to like some sort of addiction, get in legal trouble. He's just awesome in every sense of
Yeah.
the word.
I'm interested to see where it goes as we get like Timberlake's a guy I got my eye on as we get older. A couple decades from now, I wonder what he's still doing.
I'm going to ask a question.
That's a guy I'll be like 60 in Vegas, be like, we got to go see Timberlake. Huh?
Is he? That's exactly
right? I'll
on
pay
that
whatever
point.
it is.
Is he like kind of our generation Sinatra?
I've said that. I think I said that in our...
Yeah. Well, Kelly Keegan said Bublé.
Which I thought was crazy.
Yeah.
I like Bublé.
So to Ed's point, I think, people who would look at this and be like, Timberlake won one overall. If you look at the tape and you're actually willing to get into the details here,
You understand that.
And just see my full team in the end.
Correct.
When I get my full team, it's gonna
but
make
people
sense.
get so bogged down in that shit.
Has he ever been the
Which
musical act too?
Which I love. What?
Has he ever been the musical act on SNL?
Oh, he's had to have been, I'm sure, right? He's double dipped.
I thought he always dual hosted, but I don't know that for sure. So.
I would imagine at one point
knows,
they had to have, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Pretty small list of guys who can do that.
It's like
You know
taking
about it.
Antonio Gates like first overall in a fantasy draft in like 06. And someone's like, what are you talking about? LT's on the team. It's like, yeah, but it's
Only
tight end
3
Steve.
good tight ends in the league. Only
You know,
3.
I did my research, so
This is
good
it.
pick.
Yeah. Took
There's your
Gronk.
football reference.
White Sox Dave.
Oh, man, I'm going to get completely shit on for this. And you know what?
Yes.
You know what, Ed?
You don't care.
I don't care. And that's okay.
Okay.
I'm very on the record saying I can't stand a lot of Will Ferrell movies when he's the lead role. But him in Saturday Night Live that's the era of Saturday Night Live I grew up on. Hysterically funny. Hysterically funny. It was him or the other obvious choice between male cast members, I think. And I'm happy to have him. And I think that if you're around my age, which is 34, and you think Saturday Night Live, you think Will Ferrell. I'm not going to say the sketches he's in, but
There's been
some of the most famous SNL sketches, in my
Well,
memory.
I would say-
there's so many sketches on
We
the
know,
board. I'm
man.
kind of
Yeah.
like, it would be annoying not to bring up the fact that he's great as a Spartan cheerleader. Some of his
Yep.
sketches gets turned into movies. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like
feature
him
movies,
as
yeah.
him as George Bush in that era too was just like a home run every time. George W. Bush, he was perfect at that. So he had a million great moments.
Harry Carey.
Harry Carey.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bad.
I thought it got a little tired. I
Yeah,
liked it the
that's-
first
that's
time
a
I
better
saw
point,
it, and
yeah.
then it was like, okay, yeah.
Him as Alex Trebek. Come on. That all those sketches are just
Yeah.
so fucking funny, and his like stern face every time Sean Connery says something. He's like, it's perfect.
I want to go back to your opening comment. So you do not like his movies?
I don't like him as the lead in movies.
You
More often
you
than
have
not.
always said you like him in Old School.
Yeah, he's not a lead in that movie. He's perfect in that movie. He's perfect.
I'm backing up your point.
He's perfect as Ashley Schaefer in Eastbound
Yes.
and Down.
Yep.
Sorry, and I'm just measuring this analogy because I just want to say, like, maybe it's not this extreme, but I do feel like Dave just drafted like Jerry Reinsdorf as the Bulls owner.
In the 90s specifically.
Yeah, where it's like I want to celebrate some great things he does.
Yeah.
But then if we start to walk outside of that, it's like, oh, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But no, like
Jeff, what's your take on this pick?
I mean, he's not my number one on my man. He was my number 2, but I will mention 2 skits that I don't think are going to be drafted here. There's 2 that will always make it up. The Janet Reno dance party is one of the
that's a
funniest
great
things
one.
I don't think I know that
ever.
one.
Oh, that one's
and I
so
know.
funny.
And again, I need to. I'm going to sound hypocritical here. Impressions on SNL are very funny. I just think nowadays they lean too heavy on them. Mm-hmm. But
Fair.
there are great impressionists from SNL, and that's kind of why they do it now. Because the heyday, there were so many. They'd be like one-off, like they'd be just 1 or 2 skits during the show. But Janet Reno dance party is unreal. It is the most 90s 2000 shit of all time. Amazing. Also, my favorite Christmas skit. It's so stupid. It's like the Mark Ronson Family Christmas or whatever. That's like the artist, but I forget his name.
Yeah.
Spins around in the circle, saying it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah.
And he just pukes at it. It gets me. It gets me every damn time.
Yeah.
He's I mean, he is what he is. Once he left, when things started going downhill, it's definitely partly when he left.
I would agree with that. I think we'd all agree with that, even though if you're like 18 or 20 listening to this, you'd be like, oh no, this person's fucking awesome. He's carrying the show now. So it might just be us old men yelling at clouds. But I mean, I'm happy with the pick because, like I
Superstar.
said, when I think of SNL, for playing word association, Will Ferrell's the very first thing that pops in my
I
head.
had the DVD, the best of SNL with Will Ferrell, and it might have been like a double DVD because he had so many great moments.
Yeah. Was he the? Well, maybe not. All right, Carl.
I'm going to go guest host. This is my favorite guest host. I'm taking Christopher Walken. It's a very thin category. Maybe it's a stretch. Other people would say I think he's worthy of being the first overall pick. His style and sense of humor is just unfucking believable. He's part of so many great skits. Now, obviously, Cowbell, people know that one for sure, but literally everything he's touched on Saturday Night Live, gold. Even in kind of as the era got like, you'd say like, oh, as things started to get poor, and then like Christopher Walken would come on and just fucking absolutely murder it. And I think he's hosted it like 20 times or something like crazy.
It's not that many because I know the number of most Saturday Night Live guest hosting.
But it's been a lot.
It's been a lot, of course, yeah. The most is 15. But
16.
Or is it 16? Christopher Walken, I think he's the only pick. Ooh. He's the first pick for this category, I would say.
Well,
I know Timberlake.
Draft, no, he's great.
I think he's the best.
And like if we're talking Will Ferrell, and it's
a presence.
Yeah, Walken and Ferrell combining for Cowbell is another one that I think got a little bit like we get it, but that was like an iconic. Everybody knows you got to have more Cowbell Blue Oyster Cult. So
yeah.
The Continental when he's like hosting you and he's walking around like a POV style.
Was this your list with two, Jeff? Was it guest host?
For my second guest host?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. But you said you had a category with two. Was a guest host?
No. Guest host had two. I'm not saying. I'm saying my.
Okay.
I'm just
your
not
other
saying
one's
my
still
own
on the
yet.
board.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I overstated that. He's hosted 7 times. And I'm sorry.
That's got to be up there for most ever.
It's a lot though.
Yeah, that's a ton.
That's a
Over
shit
how many
ton.
decades?
1990 to 2008.
So almost 3 total decades.
This might be in poor taste. Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He's got to be pushing like 80 something though.
Great. I like the pick.
He's got a huge movie next year.
Guest host.
79 years old.
Big round for guest host.
It's not what I thought would
not
happen.
Not what I expected. No,
and I
me
gotta
neither.
say, I'm kind of happy about it because I have 2 that I really like that are still on the board for guest hosts.
All right,
and I'm up.
Yeah.
My thinnest category, and I think everybody's probably thinnest category, has to be movie. And we just did the skit a couple weeks ago. We've done it before. I'm taking Wayne's World. I think Wayne's World to me is of those. If you're my age, that has to be the number one. So I'm thrilled to get Wayne's World.
Yeah, Wayne's World's great.
Yeah. There's not even much you need to say about it. Like this is like probably the boring category, but this to me, like I had to have. There's only 2 movies that I wanted. So
yeah, Wayne's World's awesome.
This kind of pigeonholes the rest of us into taking the next movie, which I think is all on the tips of our tongues.
Nope,
maybe
don't think so.
Oh, Jeff, the movie guy. Jeff is the movie guy. So
I think we got different movies, but we'll see.
Yeah. No,
the list does thin out quickly, though.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I think there is a big there's a top 3 for me. I'm going to take one of my wraparound. So you took my second one, so I'm happy to get the first one.
Okay.
So interesting. You went with Wayne's World though first.
Love Wayne's World.
That's your first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it is great though. Anybody got anything on Wayne's World before we move on? I feel like
we've exhausted Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit in this office.
I don't know the sponsorship. I don't know.
Can you give us your Chris Farley impression when he's the bouncer? Come on, it's good. Come on.
It's not good.
Have a little fun.
It's just not good enough to like.
It is good enough. It was awesome. You had
good.
the hand motions down and the voice inflection perfectly.
I think. Yeah.
It was so good.
He nailed it. Maybe we'll just can we repost that or not allowed to?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Well, there's like 3 ways back then, like in the Wayne's World era of the late 80s, early 90s, like if you wanted to do something like that with your buddies and like work on a show, like the way you podcast today or the way you'd like do some shit on YouTube, you could like start a newspaper or whatever. You know, Dave did that. You could do like a radio AM midnight. I'm sure you did something like that in college. I did.
Mm-hmm. What?
I did like AM midnight to
shit like that,
radio with Panayanovich. Or the idea of like a local closer or like local television show with like your buddies is fucking hilarious. And just thinking about how many guys are sitting around doing podcasts with each other talking
That's
like,
a good point.
It's like, yeah, that's what Wayne's World is.
Yeah. Classic part, Bohemian rap,
Mm-hmm.
City. Caught myself. But
Soapy.
yeah, Wayne's World. All right, I'll just take it then. I'm going Blues Brothers. Fun fact, John Belushi, still to this day, I believe the only guy who had the number one movie, the number one TV show, and the number one song.
I think you're right.
It's got to be, right?
It's pretty big.
Yeah. No, it's great. It was like those to me are the top two. I went with Wayne's World just because it was like more my era. So I've seen it, but it's like I know like
Blues Brothers was passed down to us.
Correct.
From our forefathers.
Yeah.
But I'm still such a nerd for Chicago that I like just seeing all the locations, and I like seeing where they ran the red light or where they're in Park Ridge by that funeral home, and then obviously 1060 West Edison and with there's so many cool parts. And the music is great, and it really is a great movie. Do you like it as much, Jeff? I don't know how much this is.
Let's go to movierankings.net. We can answer that question for everybody.
I mean, I just pulled up all my SNL movie rankings. We'll have to go over them at the end. No, I mean, Blues Brothers is amazing.
Give him a 91 out
it's
of
an
100.
amazing movie. I'm trying to 90. I had our averages up. I've been at a 91. Kendrick has a 93. It's amazing.
Papa Williams, he watched the gas station scene. They only filmed it once, I guess, but it was filmed in West Chicago, and he watched that scene, watched the explosion and everything.
I think
From behind a bush, he had to sneak through it. You want him to come on walk and tell that story?
Yeah, that'd be great, Dave. But yeah, it's a classic. I think obviously Joliet Jake. Enough said. Okay, so yeah, I will. I'll take the Blues Brothers first round. Because I kind of had to do that because there would not have been many movies left for me on the way back. I feel so. All right. Here, I don't know where the fuck I'm going to go.
I'm shocked that you don't know where you're going to go.
This should be easy. I feel like there's so much to pick from.
Yeah.
There's a lot to pick from, but
Strategy does come into play because of the movies and I think one other category.
it absolutely comes into play. I'm going to take, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to go take the first female. I'm going to take Tina Fey.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
I got 3 on my list because I think they all stink other than her. She's a comedic genius.
No, there's a lot of good girls, Dave. There's a lot
I
of-
think she's the
there's a lot of good
funniest.
girls.
Faye's
Yeah.
interesting.
Clear cut number 1. I think she could have gone number 1 overall just
I think so
because
too.
of strategy.
Yeah.
I think so too. But I think to say that there's only 3 good ones is crazy.
I didn't even think of her as number 1 overall.
Really?
That's
And I love
crazy.
I mean,
She
30 Rock is
Yeah.
I never got into it.
Oh, it's
30
awesome.
Rock is
I've heard
on
it's
another
great, yeah.
level of comedy.
Really?
It's-
And she's got Tina Fey's best skits though are mostly shorts and commercials though.
Yeah.
Like obviously people think about
Sarah Palin.
Sarah
Yeah, say
Palin.
that, yeah.
yeah.
But other than that, like she's SNL to me. Like I grew up with her on SNL, and she has a lot of skits. But like when I think of a bunch of her like famous stuff, like I think of like the Mom Jeans one. So I mean, she's great. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't. There's a couple who I'd have above her in terms of just like because of what they do versatility wise. There's
feel
another
like
one I
she-
have in the male category that I kind of have that same thought, but I'm not going to say who it is because I actually I may end up taking him.
Yeah, she had a long run as like the main person on Weekend Update too.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
Yeah.
she was
So-
big on update.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Fallon.
She was great at it.
Yeah. No, there's other female cast members that I like a lot too, but I don't know. There's something about Tina Fey that just screams so SNL to me that I really like her on my list. I like her on my list.
Okay.
She's a heavy hitter.
You know?
And I love her.
I may regret
Mean
this because I
Girls
got to
is
wait a
just
while now,
fucking-
but Tina Fey's the pick.
If you haven't seen 30 Rock, 30 Rock is beyond a must.
You would love to.
Yeah, I got.
No, I know.
gotta do
It's
30
just
Rock.
one of those shows
So
I've never
funny.
watched.
It's a top 5 sitcom for me.
It's probably top 5 sitcom ever, right?
I don't know.
A lot. I've seen a million lists. At
It's
this
one of
point.
those comedy shows where like you almost fall behind watching episodes because there's too many jokes. Like you're just like you're laughing at a joke and you miss another joke.
My
It's just
dad
so
used
funny.
to yell at us to not laugh while it was on TV because he didn't want to miss the next joke. So he'd be like, "Hey, no talking, no laughing."
That's a dad move.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Chief, you were up.
Well, in the 30 Rock spirit, I'll go guest host and I'll take Alec Baldwin. And
Wow.
I think he is. I'm struggling to like remember. I know he's been on a ton, but it's like my brain is. I'm just so locked into that 30 Rock character, so I'm having a hard time remembering like specific sketches. But he's been in. I think he is hilarious. Like he's so good in 30 Rock. He's great when he hosts SNL. I think he's hosted it a dozen times.
His best sketch might be a Christmas sketch. I don't want to say it though. I would say it's his best sketch.
That's his best sketch, is a Christmas one.
There's a Christmas sketch that Alec Baldwin is in that I think is a top 5 sketch probably of all time on SNL.
Jesus.
And I know like I don't do the whole tipping thing, but this is one that I actually won't say because I don't know if we pick.
Huh. Interesting.
That's a good pick.
Well, I don't think anybody knows what you're talking
Baldwin's
about.
a big time
Yeah.
host.
Honestly, I thought he was on the show. I thought he was an actual cast member.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't even on my list.
Well, he's
been on it so much.
Well, yeah, and he was Trump. So.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was Trump.
Let me toss it in there. His Trump stinks. Terrible Trump impression.
But
stinks.
But I think that's because so many people have come out of the woodworks and done a great Trump, where it's like, hey, you just got. Like,
it's just
Ed, give us your
that
Trump.
is
I know
what-
you got
If you
a
don't
good
have a
Trump.
Trump,
SNL.
what do
Ed, you got a Trump.
stymied. I don't have a Trump.
You have a Trump. I've seen you do the Trump.
I don't have a Trump.
Try it.
I don't have a Trump.
You got a Trump. Come on.
I don't know what to tell you. That's so like.
We got
He has such a
we got
great-
Joey
for
Molinaro
a-
over here.
For a guest host, his list of sketches is crazy.
So you are.
Granted, he was on a bunch.
Yeah.
But my God, like looking at him right now, like it is just
It's heavy. That's exactly why I thought he was like something in my brain told me he was just a regular cast member in the 90s because he's a part of so many very famous sketches that
Oh yeah.
Now that I'm like pulling up the list, he has
a shit.
a ton of heavy hitters.
shit
Oh
ton.
yeah,
A shit ton.
Shit ton.
a shit ton.
Carl.
Should have held off on Christopher Walken.
Can I get you a glass of water or something?
I know.
He's got a BioLite.
And a 5-hour energy something?
No,
over there?
it's God. These
Immunity
are sponsors.
health.
All right.
Yeah.
Proper wild.
proper wild. Get a
Shout
little
out
energy.
Shout out the dozen. Free ads all over the place.
I'll take a
Thanks for
male
Chicago.com.
actor. You fucks, disrespectful people. It is sad it took us this long to draft Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who
I thought I was gonna get him just now, and that would have been the biggest win of all time.
Yeah.
it really would have been.
Because to us, like anybody, you could say otherwise. I know there's another guy, but that's our guy.
That's the guy.
That's the fucking guy that. Ed, you are very passionate about his career.
Yeah, I
right?
like him a lot, and I I have something in my head here, but I'm not going to say it. But Farley's a legend. So, good pick. He has got so many killer moments on the show. I mean, that was really his movie-wise, he really doesn't have that many, as many people think. Like, he's got a lot of bit roles and like, you know, Wayne's World and whatnot. But
Billy
and he's
Madison.
got Tommy Boy, he's got Black Sheep, and then he's got
Beverly Hills
Ninja.
Ninja, and then he's got the
What's
the Explorer
Almost
one.
Heroes.
Yeah, that's the one.
That
Almost,
movie-
Almost Heroes is sneaky.
But yeah, he's a side piece to a couple of these SNL movies, Airheads.
Airheads, yeah.
I implore
Airheads is a
everybody
good
listening,
movie.
if you
Yeah, I
haven't
like
seen
that.
Almost Heroes, it's Chris Farley's last movie before he passed away, and there's a scene where he's climbing a tree to get an eagle, and the whole thing is they're like Lewis and Clark or something,
Yeah.
like explorers.
Well, they're like racing Lewis and Clark.
Right.
Yeah,
And he climbs a big ass pine tree that's like a mile high, and he's trying to steal an egg for food out of an eagle's nest. And I'll watch it like twice a year alone and just laugh hysterically for like 10 minutes because of Chris Farley. It's not that funny of a scene, and the way I describe it, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck you talking about?" But if you haven't seen it, just YouTube like Almost Heroes eagle scene. One of the funniest scenes, my favorite scenes in movie history. What an endearing guy he was.
Yeah.
It's so sad that he had all the personal demons that he did.
yeah.
Because he was just a born-bred entertainer, and everything he did was funny. Every single thing he did. We watched that documentary on Nickelodeon. He was on that Nickelodeon, and that, like,
Yeah, he's a
you
funny
know,
guy.
damn shame.
Good pick. Good pick. White Sox Dave.
And on that exact note, he was so funny his own cast members, while they were recording sketches, couldn't keep their composure in the scene. I'm going to Christina Applegate, David Spade, and the who was the dad in that? It was what's his
think it was
face?
Phil Hartman,
Phil
right?
Hartman, yeah, Phil Hartman.
Hartman.
Rest in peace as well. And the motivational speaker,
Matt Foley.
Matt Foley.
So that was that's why I said I wasn't going to say anything, because I was hoping I'd get the motivational speaker sketch.
I was gonna leave it.
No,
for
it was gonna go to me. I mean, I had kind of had a backup that if I didn't get Farley, I might get that. But yeah, I mean that's a great pick.
Yeah.
It's just it's perfect Saturday Night Live. Like, obviously there's a ton of improv in it. We have the backstory with when the actual priest Matt Foley, who the character is named after, did the dog walk episode.
Yeah,
Well, how long? That was like 3 years ago now, right?
No, I interviewed him in February of 2020.
So
Okay.
right before the lockdown.
Yeah, right
pandemic?
before the lockdown. Yeah, at St. James in Arlington Heights. It was actually a really cool interview. Talked about Chris, and we just did it in the pew of a church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it was sweet. And we honestly still used to DM once in a while. So he's a good dude, and I mean obviously he's a priest, but this was my hand's gone now. But I was hoping to get one of the two on the way back, but so kind of regret Tina Fey now.
I would have taken Tina Fey and hoped for this to come back to me.
That was a fuck up.
I do think that part of it, like, I wasn't going to draft Chris Farley, hoping that I would get one of his iconic sketches.
That's what that was
Yeah.
my hope.
That's why I went
too.
Will Ferrell, so I could get the voting block from Chris Farley and the motivational speaker. That was my strategy, but I think it's the best sketch of all time.
It's a great sketch.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean,
Yeah.
David Spade and Christina Applegate just cannot keep their composure the whole time.
Yeah, it's very funny.
It's so fucking funny.
It's very funny.
I'm gonna watch it after record.
All right, motivational speaker's gone. Jeffrey.
Old Will Ferrell sketch that people can't keep their composure is always Old Prospector, by the way.
Yeah. That's
Old
a great one,
Prospector
too.
is one of the fucking stupidest things you'll ever see, but it is so damn funny.
I don't know if I know that.
It's
So I back
it's
to
really
back.
funny.
I'm gonna go Dan Aykroyd.
Oh,
Dan Aykroyd is in some of the best sketches of all time. I mean, this list was, again, I went 10 deep on this list. You could have given me anybody. Farley was my number one, Will Ferrell number two, but Dan Aykroyd number three. I mean, Bass-O-Matic, fucking Bag of Glass, Jane. I mean, it just, you go on and on. Blues Brothers. You can go on and on with Aykroyd, and Aykroyd is like, when I think of iconic staple SNL and just characters, that's the thing. And like impressions are great, love all that, but if you can do just like an iconic random new character, like that just puts you to a different level. And there's so many who've done that, and there's been recent ones too. Bill Hader has a couple, but like Kristen Wiig, but like Aykroyd just has so many of those old sleazy characters that are just always so damn funny to me. But I mean, it's usually, again, I keep talking about Christmas stuff because we're just around that time of year, but like Bag of Glass is just that whole fucking skit is so stupid. It's so perfect though. It's so perfect dumb sketch comedy. So Aykroyd for me is my male.
I love Aykroyd. The guy's in everything. Carl and I did a podcast about him one time.
It's awesome.
Just on Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, I don't know. We just like talked about him.
Well, he's a fascinating guy.
Yeah, he is. Like he's got like a skull vodka.
he's a
He's like
big
into
alien
aliens.
guy,
Like
yeah.
he's just like a crazy guy.
Have you ever seen the clip of him almost killing Larry King with the vodka?
No.
Larry King takes the Crystal Head vodka. He takes a shot of it. And he just starts like joking at the table. He goes, "Oh," he's like, "That's good stuff." It looks like he almost dies. Yeah,
That's good stuff.
Too wild and crazy guy. Yeah, Aykroyd's got his list of sketches.
Such a quirky, funny dude. You're up again, Jeff.
My sketch would have been Matt Foley. That's my number one. And this is where I had the preface. His impressions are great. I just don't like when it's only impressions. I'm going to go Celebrity Jeopardy. I did want to take a Farley. I mean, there's so many good Farley. Like, I'll wait till the end because I got a list of Farley ones I wrote down. But I feel like I got old SNL with Aykroyd. I'm going to go Celebrity Jeopardy because Celebrity Jeopardy can lump in a bunch of guys that I don't have. Norm,
best.
Will Ferrell, Daryl Hammond as Sean Connery. So yeah, Celebrity Jeopardy is a good one. There's a couple skits that I like didn't forget about, but I wrote down that are just so like it kind of reinforced what I said about the 90s being like I do think the 90s was like a legitimately great era and early 2000s for SNL. But yeah, I'll go Celebrity Jeopardy.
See, that's what I love about these things, Jeff, is because people and people are the best in this way. Is people are so warped where if you take Celebrity Jeopardy 1-1, like people love it. Like you getting in the third round, that's such great value. So
People, but people will be like, "What?
How do
They'll
you
still
fucking
be,
get it?" Yeah. So that's, I mean, you filled out. That's great. I think that's tremendous value. In the
I
third
think
round.
it's
people
got
fucking love it.
by far the best rewatchability as far as sketches go. You could watch them any time of the year, any day. And how many are there? There's probably a half dozen, right?
Oh, at least. There's a ton.
Penis Mightier.
Because people forget that. I mean, not people forget, but like there was an era before it was Sean Connery, or was just Burt Reynolds. Like that was the character that I always messed with. It's like there's a lot, and they were always great. They were always funny.
Yeah, that's Celebrity Jeopardy speaks for itself.
I used to burn the audio of that onto just CDs and just had to listen to it.
I did
in the
that.
car.
Middle school, we had this thing where we had to like sell things or something. And I remember me and my buddy, we burned Celebrity Jeopardy onto CDs, and we sold like for like your God, that was not received well. Saying things like famous titties in 5th grade was not funny. That didn't fly. Yeah.
White Sox, Dave, you're up.
I got so many ways I can go. All right. I'm going to start by saying that I have to draft this right now because I haven't seen the rest of the movies aside from one, and it was like 2 decades. Well, probably fucking 3 decades ago at this point. I have to draft A Night at the Roxbury because I haven't seen the rest of them other than Coneheads. And I think I saw A Night at the Roxbury in theaters probably 10 times. That was back when I was sneaking into movie theaters. Age. What year did that come out? Like 2002, 2003-ish? So I was like 14, 15 years old. My buddies and we snuck in and watched A Night at the Roxbury a billion different times. And I thought it was like the funniest movie I'd ever seen in my life up until that point.
Great fucking movie. It's my number 3.
It's definitely my number 3. I'll say that as well.
It's one of those songs where you listen to it and you will always identify that movie with that song.
Yep, and then you'll do the...
Yep. I mean, dude, you want to talk about staying power. That's got fucking more power than the Macarena.
Oh, big time.
You hear that song and you're
that
bopping
song's
your
like
fucking head.
typecast in a way.
It is, dude. Yeah.
Right. Oh, the Night at the Roxbury song, that little techno song. Oh.
It's just the skit was so much better than the movie. And
I wish they could have got that third guy for the movie because it would have been all the better.
Yeah.
It is a weird thing too, where that's one of the very few. I think Blues Brothers, because Blues Brothers was based off such a very small thing. It's Night of the Roxbury kind of gets a bit more of a pass. I think people blend the movie with the skit. Like I don't think they mistake the two of them, but I think I think the movie gets a little credit from the skit where I think some of the other movies you don't say that as much. Like I think people lump it together a little bit sometimes. I mean, I don't think it's a very good movie at all.
It's not. It's a objectively very bad movie. But
I think it gets bumped up a little bit
way.
because of the skit. Where there's some movies based on the skits where the movie stinks.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I've seen the movie more than
if I would have seen that for the first time today, I'd be like, this movie fucking sucks. What the fuck is this shit? But I saw it as like a 12, 13-year-old kid.
Washington.
Yeah, he's
Abraham Lincoln.
That poor guy, he died too. Bouncer.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. He won an Oscar after that.
Night at the Roxbury. Off the board. Carl, back to you.
I'm still thinking about I have a couple ideas for skits. There's some really good ones. But I don't think there's, as far as women are concerned, Kate McKinnon to me is the best. Like she's awesome. She's got a whole range. She's been here forever.
She's still there?
The second you look at Kate McKinnon, you go, oh, SNL. Like everybody does. There's a lot of people that have gone and done other things, but like to me, the biggest thing Kate McKinnon does is Saturday Night Live, and she's done it quite well.
She's a beast, dude.
I mix her up constantly with the guy that we always guess for his celebrity mashup in The Dozen. That's in like 40-Year-Old Virgin and all those movies.
Yeah, yes.
I think they're the same person. I still can't, and we always guess it too.
Fuck.
No, it's not so easy on the other side. Now, is it, Jeff?
Now that you're under the spotlight.
Yeah, what's her name, Jeff?
Face. You're just giving me names.
King of Chicago, get ready to steal.
You didn't give me anything
5.
just now.
Leslie
4.
Mann.
No, it's not her. The other one.
Oh, Catherine.
Kristen Wiig?
No.
Not
No.
Katherine Heigl, the other one. She's in all. she's
Kristen
in,
Bell.
Not Kristen
The
Bell.
one who bangs Carell?
He's about to, and he's like, that girl scares the
Oh, I know
shit
who you're
out of me.
talking about. I know who you're talking about. She works at the...
Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks, yes.
I always think they're
I
like
did
the
not
same
think that's what you were
person.
thinking.
No,
I did
I
not
don't-
think that's who you were thinking.
Neither
about,
did
by the
I.
way.
Neither did I.
But they're the same people to me. But yeah, Kate McKinnon, she's great.
Yeah, I might be a little early. I don't really care.
No, she's
I
supremely
don't think
talented too.
She's big time to me.
She's
Oh,
awesome.
definitely. Yeah.
She did an It
You know,
spoof
big time.
of Kellyanne Conway, and she was fucking. It's like she
Yeah.
was very good.
I think she was Hillary too.
She
A
was.
lot,
She
yeah.
was, yes.
She was Hillary. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
She was.
Hillary was
she's
just okay.
she's very very talented.
Is she still there? Is she?
I think she may have just had her
I think
last
she just
season.
left.
She just
Okay.
left.
I think she finally left. She's very
Yeah.
good as Ellen too.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen. I would love to see those. So I don't know if I have before. Because I bet she crushes it. Is on.
She's like
Again,
pretty
it's
much
not a lot
everything.
of like original characters that stick out with me for her. I mean, she is great. Don't get me wrong. It's not
Yeah.
a knock on her. She's amazing. It's a great pick.
Chief.
All right, I will go with. I want Farley on my board, so I'll take the Chippendale audition. Maybe like the most iconic, like when they're doing like the role of the quick ones, like
Yeah.
you instantly know who it is. I'm blanking on what's his face's name.
Swayze.
Yeah,
Patrick
Patrick
Swayze. It's a hilarious like peak physical comedy, and that's what he was best at. And I wanted Farley on the board, so I'll take the Chippendale audition.
The fun fact about that, well, not so fun fact, was like Bob Odenkirk says in his book, The Chris Farley Show, I read, he's like, I fucking hated that sketch. He's like, Chris, under the right frame of mind, would have never done it. And
shit.
I don't know, it's like, gets kind of dark about it, which is like.
So he only did it because he was all drugged out.
Well, I don't know about that. He doesn't necessarily say that. And he talks about it more on the Stern interview he did after he did finish Better Call Saul recently, but it was just a
I wish you would've
interesting
left that story
perspective.
out.
Yeah, well, I'm just letting you know it's
I mean, he had demons, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Very
but
clear,
he
yeah.
I don't know, he was, and this was not Farley's take, but this was like Odenkirk being like, yeah, just knowing Chris, like I know he probably just like didn't really like it, but but it still doesn't make it a classic,
Yeah, right.
nonetheless,
But nonetheless, would have been great if you just left that story out.
Sorry,
He was only
like it
30
damages.
fucking 3 years.
sorry, pal.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry. Chippendale audition.
The anniversary of Chris Farley's death was 2 days ago.
Yeah. Okay, back to me. I'm fucking an idiot thinking that the motivational speaker would get back to me. I suck.
Bad draft strategy, Ed.
Horrible draft strategy. But I don't know. Well, Tina Fey's good, right?
Yeah, Tina
I'm not
Fey's
going to
great.
prefer. I fucked up. I'm going to go male. Everyone loves this story that the show would have ended in 1980 if Eddie Murphy did not come along. So I'm going to go with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, it's a great pick.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Can I tell you something? I didn't know that story.
yes.
I did.
I
Not
didn't.
Know
I
that.
didn't know that story
It's-
either.
If you ever like, there's a big old book about SNL, and if there's like a quick like fun facts about SNL, it's probably like people's favorite fact about SNL is that he pretty much, well, people like to say anyway, single-handedly saved the show. He was just a breakout star and just like stole the fucking show in every sketch, and it was just awesome.
I don't know enough about his tenure with SNL to really comment.
I feel like it's
Hey,
like
you-
the
but
fuck
dude,
we-
It's
I-
Eddie Murphy though.
yeah.
Mr.
I
Robinson's
mean, this might be
Neighborhood.
tipping. Sorry, but he's up. So I gotta bring up. I mean, there are so many skits that I had on my skit list from him. That are
Yeah.
just unreal. I'll bring up one. Gumby is just gonna always be one of the funniest things I've
Yeah.
ever seen in my life. I will laugh at the Gumby skit for the rest of my life, just as hard every time.
Yeah.
It is. We'll bring up a couple other ones later, but like when I first got into SNL, the Eddie Murphy skits were probably the things that like, in terms of like, if you took all like the main cast members, like the old DVDs that I had of like the people's compilations, his were probably the ones I laughed the hardest at. I'm Gonna Be Damn It is just one of the funniest things I've ever seen on TV.
Yeah, that Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood is a spoof of.
Yes, yeah, that's the other I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in the hot tub. He had a lot, Dave. You should go back and watch
It's a
him.
spoof of Crosby show.
He did a lot of Cosby stuff, I know. But he did. The hot tub was
Cosby
who was
Show,
the hot tub
Mr.
was
Rogers.
James Brown.
James Brown.
Mr. Rogers. Yeah, James Brown. He did a buckwheat thing that was funny. He had a ton of shit, dude.
I mean, a lot of people say he's the funniest man that's ever walked the earth.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how good he was, unscripted or scripted. Television like that.
It was
yeah.
right when Lorne Michaels left, and I think they stopped doing Live from New York for a while because he hijacked it, right, Jeff? And he said, "Live from New York, it's the Eddie Murphy show."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was he just a prick?
I don't know. I know he was super confident and was always yeah, I'm gonna be a fucking megastar. And everyone's he wasn't egotistical. He was just I know I'm funny as fuck.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I like that.
Stating
Yeah.
What's
fact.
wrong with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Nothing-
now he's
nothing wrong with it.
and there's a famous spat he had with David Spade. And I know he hasn't come back, but then he came back recently, and he came back for the 40th, but he didn't do anything. He just went up and made a quick speech. I don't know. Eddie Murphy and his history with SNL is very, very interesting. Look into it.
Okay.
It's not the only thing that the character is based on, but Tracy Jordan in 30 Rock is obviously largely based on Eddie Murphy and SNL. He rolls a bunch of things together, but I know Eddie Murphy even commented on that in the past.
Mm-hmm. All right, I need one more. I don't think people are gonna like this one, but I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna go sketchy. I'm gonna take Olympia Cafe. That is the cheeseburger. It's
It's a great sketch.
All right,
Because it's Belushi and they're coming in there.
Murray.
Is Gilda
Yeah,
Radner,
it's
and they're
all
coming
of
in there ordering.
No Pepsi.
Yeah, it's based on Billy Goat's a little home cooking here with Chicago, and I don't know. There's something about the fact that a greasy spoon like that exists pretty much in every city you go. Just a place that does not give a fuck. You're walking in there, I want bacon and eggs. No, dude, cheeseburger. You know what I mean? No.
I'll tell you what you get.
It's just the epitome of just a miserable no,
dumpy, yeah.
No, you know what I mean?
Nah.
And it is funny. It does hold up.
It's a great skit. It's a great skit.
What is wrong with you guys
Vintage.
today?
I hope people don't crap on it because it's just so old and they just don't know it. I mean,
Okay.
that is vintage SNL.
Okay, I'm glad you're pro, Jeff. Good.
And it's my
Who else
dad
in that? Jane
used to
Curtin's in that,
make
I
us
think.
go to there before Hawks games.
Yes, dude.
Because he was ha, 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 cheeseburger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's
Like,
based, Billy Goat Tavern, dude.
Yeah.
It's cheeseburger,
Yeah.
Coke, no Coke, Pepsi, chips. Cheeseburger. Olympia Cafe is my pick.
I don't think I wouldn't. If you just said Olympia Cafe, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I never knew that was the name of it.
I did have my
Yeah.
memory jogged for sure.
Yeah. Chief, you're up.
I'll go with my. I love Celebrity Jeopardy. I love Weekend Update. I'll go with Norm Macdonald. I think Norm Macdonald was one of the best at Weekend Update. I thought and then his character on as Burt Reynolds for Celebrity Jeopardy is just, to me, it's so fucking. He hits it
He doesn't even
perfect.
talk in it either,
Yeah.
really. Just a couple yeah, that's right. Yeah, just shit like that.
You can just watch a compilation of an hour of him doing just OJ jokes on Weekend Update, and that's already funnier than 90%, maybe more, of SNL cast. And that's just that one joke.
Yeah.
The Frank Stallone bit on SNL on Weekend Update for me is one of the stupidest things in the world, but it is so perfectly Norm. Him just saying who's number 2 richest man in the world? You guessed it, Frank Stallone. That running joke is just so dumb and so perfect. The OJ stuff is why he got fired from SNL.
I didn't know he
the
did.
OJ joke compilations, if you've never watched them, just that alone worth watching.
I will probably watch it and then blog it for a little promo for this. Draft,
It's
Jeff.
just that's Norm is on my list as well. He's behind Eddie Murphy for me.
Norm
Who's behind
plays
Dan
too.
Aykroyd?
Norm has such a stable where Norm is gonna. Norm will
There's
help
Norm
you out.
guys out there.
There's Norm
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Norm guys heavy.
Yep.
There's Norm Guy's heavy. Carl.
I'll go movie. It's hilarious. It's hilarious relative to what's left on the list, but I'm taking MacGruber.
Ah, fuck.
I know. Sorry. I have a better relationship with the other movie I would have drafted, but MacGruber's objectively funnier. Like the other one I've watched much more, and like, but that's just because it's where it was in my life. But MacGruber is very, very funny and is significantly underrated because
it's aged well. I think I've liked it more over time.
I grew up in like a MacGyver, not house necessarily. My grandmother watched a ton of MacGyver, Murder, She Wrote. One year I got MacGyver for like Christmas, season 4. I don't have seasons 1 or 3.
I've never seen this. Is it good? I mean,
never
it's
seen it
funny.
either.
Yeah.
It's fun. Well, I mean, the concept
I've
of
never seen
MacGyver
it.
is
It
they
is
should bring
amazing.
back MacGyver, and like MacGyver plays on Netflix now if they wanted to reboot
Okay.
that. And the idea of MacGyver is like this man who can solve any problem with like a fucking
toothbrush, right?
doesn't matter. Just give him like a pocket knife and he'll take down, Russian KGB agents.
Yeah.
And it's just so unspectacular. A guy walking around in a vest with great hair who's just like the sex icon. Like, oh, there goes MacGyver. So the playoff of that is very funny, MacGruber, and I think it's funnier the more you know MacGyver. But sorry,
Fuck,
Jeff.
the cupboard is bare on movies.
Well,
now.
Did Eddie do that on purpose? 4 good movies so that there's one dead pick?
I think
the cupboard is bare now.
I think there's a decent one left.
The only one I
You can go sequels.
I know what you're talking about. It's a great cast.
Yeah.
It's a great cast.
Well, I don't know. We might.
I might go reverse. I might go so bad it's my pick, but we'll see.
That'd be an interesting
One
strategy.
of the SNL movies is one of the worst movies ever made.
I
Like,
liked it. As
Could
a
they
kid.
make that movie today?
No, they could not.
no.
What a ridiculous
No.
like the whole concept of that. They should cancel the whole.
No, like
no.
as a kid, I thought.
Anyway.
I played with Green. MacGruber. White Sox Dave, you're up.
Funny movie. MacGruber's funny. Funny movie.
I'm gonna watch it then.
MacGruber.
I'm going to go with female cast member. I'm going to go with Anna Gasteyer. Solely
good pick.
based on one of my... So I remember I was sleeping over at a buddy's house. I had to have been like 8 or 10 years old. And we were staying up late, past our bedtime and all that shit. And the sweaty balls. I don't think anybody will know this. Have you,
That was
Yeah,
I
dude.
think it's Alec Baldwin.
That's the Alec.
Okay,
Alec
yeah.
Baldwin sketch I was talking.
So I didn't know that's who we were talking about. I remember like it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life because it was the first time I was really introduced to something I shouldn't be watching because I was so young and I was just laughing hysterically. And it holds up to this day. I watched it this morning. So I'm going with Anna Gasteyer.
Did you say you liked the pick or you did not like it, Jeff?
Oh, she's a titan. I mean, just some of the stuff that she's done. Bobby and Marty Culp, that's a great sketch. Her doing the news with Will Ferrell. Yeah, Sweaty Balls is. It's so like, it is like my mom always referenced it. My great grandfather, like when he watched that shit, it's always the hardest they've ever seen him laugh. Like it's just so ridiculous.
It's
such a
so
funny sketch. She's
stupid. It's like, how do you
iconic.
think of something this dumb but make it so funny?
Yeah, and they don't break during that sketch, which is crazy.
How?
Like they come really
How?
close, but it's one of the most deadpan. And like I know people like that, like, and we talked about it. Obviously, it works very well in the Matt Foley sketch, but there are some times where people break where you're like, I kind of wish they just got through it.
Right.
Getting through Sweaty Balls amazing. She's also amazing as Martha Stewart. Anna Gasteyer is
She
very-
looks just like Martha Stewart.
Now that you bring that up, Jeff, like I had forgotten about the Martha Stewart. She nailed those.
She
impressions.
nails it.
Yeah.
Nails it. Was she
Bobby and Marty Culp,
Second
where
City?
her and Will Ferrell played. That's a great one too.
I guess.
I think she might have been Second City. She was a Northwestern grad. But yeah, she like that I'm cherry picking from the 90s era of SNL,
She
but
was Groundlings, David.
Groundlings?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, Anna Gasteyer.
Anna Gasteyer. All right. Jeff, you are up.
You got 2, Jeffrey.
All right, so I guess I mean, this stinks. Females between 2. My number 1 and 2 are still there, but I'm gonna take my 2 because she comes with a sketch that I was my number 2 sketch, and that's Rachel Dratch.
Oh yeah.
Rachel Dratch always played the most pathetic, lame character, and that's obviously defined by Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Debbie Downer sketches that's an example of where breaking is very funny to me. Her trying to get through the Disney World, Debbie Downer, when she talks about like feline AIDS and stuff, it is so funny, and it's just her characters were always the most pathetic characters, and when they weren't, it was like her. Rachel Dratch's Barbara Walters is so damn funny, and yeah, she's. And when I think about the era of SNL, I grew up with Rachel Dratch is up there. My number 1 is very strong too, and has anyone not picked a female yet?
Chief still needs one. So
Yeah.
Okay, maybe she gets picked. I won't say it, but Rachel Dratch is up there, and I guess there's one person left. Sherry O'Terry, Rachel Dratch, Anna Gasteyer. Those are like the 3 that always come to mind for me. But Dratch, because of Debbie Downer, will be my pick.
That's a good pick.
Debbie Downer is so fun.
I was talking to Danny about this before this, and he's like, "Dude, I love that." And I watched it. That's fucking hilarious. That sketch.
Yeah, you weren't familiar?
No, not really. Fucking, oh my god, was it fucking funny? And she got so lucky that because she broke character almost every time she did it, from what I watched. But she was able to like cry when she like played it, and it like worked. Where she would like pretend like she was crying when she was laughing to break the news. It was really funny.
Her character with Jimmy Fallon, I was looking up where they play the scumbag Boston sports fans. I think it's like Sully and Denise, and they just like randomly make out in the middle of parties. They're just hanging out. Get over here.
yeah. She was really good, and Anna Gasteyer is like this too. Sherry O'Terry. It's the original characters were so good from them, and they always had a great way of like. I mean, to give you perspective, my favorite comedy stuff is Tim and Eric, and Tim Robinson falls in that line too. It's the overemphasis of sound effects, noises, and just very particular words that are not the words and phrases that you would typically have emphasized in like regular comedy. It's dumb humor, it's dry, and those 3 of them are always very good at it. Just like you just said that impression of Rachel Dratch just now, like the Boston thing. It was always the perfect timing of words and how things were said. Her characters were always great. Yeah, Rachel Dratch, very, very fun.
Good pick.
Movie, this is stupid.
Oh, sorry.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even like.
The movie, baby. Take us into the 5th round.
It's just, I mean, I guess I don't. Whatever. I guess I'm just gonna pick Wayne's World 2.
It's not a bad movie.
It's really
No,
Coneheads?
it's not bad. I don't love
so
Coneheads.
bad.
Coneheads never really did it for me.
Coneheads ain't bad.
Come on, it's
I've never
fucking
seen it.
I
funny.
haven't
This
seen
gets
it in
very
so
fun.
long. I've seen it, but
I
like,
like
when-
Wayne's
what
World
else am I
too.
gonna?
The
Yeah.
boyfriend, Chris Farley plays a boyfriend, right?
Yeah, and he plays the mechanic too. I was like, yeah, what were you doing? He's like, yeah, I was having a beer outside. That's why our car's not done.
Blues Brothers 2000 bad. But
See,
the
you
movie I
just
was
did it,
referencing
and that
is
sounded good,
Pat.
didn't it?
Did.
What do you say, Jeff? Sorry.
The movie I was referencing is It's Pat.
Yeah,
Like the worst. It's Pat is. And I'm not just saying It's Pat's that bad because it's a movie that if they came out with it today, the studio would be shut down. It's just a bad movie. Like It's Pat is really, really bad. And for those who don't know what
I don't
It's
even know.
Pat.
How'd you say it? I mean,
I have it ranked. So it's a 0 out of 100 movie. It's one of my crown jewels, 0 out of 100 movies. I have it ranked as my 5,617th movie on MovieRankings.net. It's Pat is a character that played by Julia Sweeney, and the whole conceit of the sketch. It's a funny sketch. Like I'll tell you what, wouldn't fly today. It was a very funny sketch when it came out. They don't know if Pat's a male or a female, and
She's got
obviously that
the
would not
ambiguous
work
name.
today. But the movie is, for as funny as the sketch was, and for how big of a hit it was, the movie is that is a great example of a thing that should not be longer than 5 minutes. It's a 74-minute long movie, and the joke does not work for 74 minutes. It's Pat is fascinating. Another one similar, close to being bad is The Ladies' Man. The Ladies' Man is also not a skit that should have been a movie either.
And Tim Meadows is fucking awesome.
yeah.
Oh,
That
I love Tim
movie-
Meadows. Yeah, but yeah,
I've never seen it. I already know it's maybe a top 5 worst movie of all time.
Dude, how about this?
Ladies Man is really bad.
I'm looking at
It's really bad.
It's Pat Wikipedia. Quentin Tarantino revealed that he was an uncredited writer on the script.
Woo.
That's a crazy
Bet you didn't
fact.
know that. So
Ladies
so
Man's up there too. I have
you-
Ladies Man 7 out of 100. That's another bad movie.
If you've watched Pulp Fiction before, Julia Sweeney, the character that plays Pat, is the girl that runs the junkyard that they like dispose of that car with the body that got shot. Oh man, I shot Marvin in the face. That scene. That's Julia Sweeney. Little fun
She
fact. So
breaks
there's
character,
your Quentin Tarantino tie.
She's in a Sweeney's in a bunch of really good sketches too. Julia Sweeney's very funny.
My dad knows her a little bit.
Dude, as a kid, I laughed at that movie. I don't know.
Julia Sweeney's the mom in Matt Foley.
Oh,
okay.
there, yeah. I didn't even realize that until just now.
I played with Ween.
It's so funny when they're like drinking coffee around, in the sketch. I've never seen the movie. I can only imagine how bad it actually is. But when they're like sitting around, they have like coffee mugs and they're by the water cooler and they're like trying to goad her or him or that person into like revealing if she's a man or a woman. And they're just like kind of lobbing questions kind of subtly, but not so subtly. It's really funny. That said, I'm sure the movie is just obnoxiously bad.
It's just, and this has nothing to do with the fact that yes, it's just not kosher in this day. It's just not a joke. What if the joke,
Right.
even if the joke was kosher, like and acceptable in 2022, and nothing to do with it. It's just not a joke that should go for more than 5 minutes. It just it loses its humor very quickly after it goes past that 5 minute mark.
I wonder if they get to a point with some of these where they're like on minute 27 of writing it. We're like, yeah, should we just not do
I
this?
suppose. I mean, it was 9.
Just scrap it. Yeah.
Just keep it in, or a little
It was
weekly.
like 6. Yeah.
But I mean, there's a point to that because I do think a lot. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know why. If you just really watch from decade to decade, it seems like so many sketches they just don't know how to end them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just don't know how to tie it all together, and that's
tough time.
that's a problem.
I couldn't even tell you the last time I watched SNL.
It's been a while. I'll see like if a skit or a monologue goes viral, I'll watch it on YouTube, but that's about it.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, you need a host.
So I personally I could take any of the easy answers here because there's a handful of them, but I'm going to go with one outside the box a little more. I'm going to go with Peyton Manning.
It was on my list.
Yeah, good pick.
I mean, the scene where he's coaching the little kids and he just pegs a little kid in the back, like it reminds me of me a little bit because that's what I would do when I was coaching.
United Way, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it touches home a little bit there, and I honestly think out of all the athletes on the planet, if he were to be a regular cast member, he could hold his own. It seems like he's actually pretty good at the whole acting, even in the ESPN commercials and everything. Like you're like he can act. He's got some acting chops. He's good at it.
For sure.
I've always thought of you when I saw Peyton Manning, Dave.
I'm talking about that specific sketch where he's just yelling at the kids.
Is he like locking kid in the porta potty too?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
People seem to like him. Carl, what do you need? You need a
Skit
sketch.
This isn't on any of the lists. I didn't see it on any of the lists. I'm very surprised it didn't make it on any of the lists. But I'm taking the super fans. Phil Swirsky and the boys. Fucking in the hula skirt, pumping them up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Like Dicka, Hurricane, and then obviously because we do this job, you get a lot of like I've seen a lot of it. I don't know, you get it. Like, hey.
Yeah.
And I know that there are times that very much my voice can get to that point. Get excited, animated. The more excited and animated and more reactionary I am, the more you're going to get, hey. Yeah.
Who were the four? It was Mike Myers, Farley.
The fucking one guy from
Cheers.
George Wendt.
George Wendt.
Why can't I think of the guy?
And then I know you're talking
John
about
Goodman?
No.
I don't think it was
No,
Goodman.
he was never on.
He kind of looks
Forget
like
the
Mike
name.
Myers.
I'm kind of pissed that was going to be my host.
Who?
Goodman.
Well, go ahead, take him.
And I have a comment on it. Michael Jordan's by far the worst part of that. The first one. He stinks in it.
He's like, I got
Doesn't have that
corpus
Peyton
and
Manning.
knockwurst
No.
lodged in my esophagus. And then the funny thing is,
Todd O'Connor.
I like Super Jeff. Does Superfans hit for you though?
Joe
Amazing.
Mantegna.
One of my favorites growing up too. And again, that's someone who didn't grow up in Chicago. That's my number 2, Farley. Even though I mean it's not a Farley sketch. Like Matt Fuller is a Farley sketch, but like if I were to lump in, if we were like talking about let's pick sketches Farley's in, that's up there. I mean it's probably the best sports related sketch in SNL history. It's just so funny. But yeah, and I think to that point, as a non-Chicago guy, always been one of my favorites. Just fun, just flat out hilarious.
I think it's a pretty good representation
Again,
of Chicago as a whole.
exaggerated original characters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, say it again?
It's perfectly exaggerated.
Yes, like it's like and like I said in the beginning, and like again, I took Celebrity Jeopardy. It's like a broken record. I love the impressions, but the more we talk about sketches and the ones that make me laugh like the hardest, and I have like the most charm, and it's the ones that are the exaggerated, over the top original characters, and that's why you talk about original. Like think about like recent memory, like what's the last like super original character that people love? Like is it just Stefan, Bill Hader? Like I don't like. There's so many from the 90s too that you can think of, but even like recently, I don't know. I don't watch as much as I used to, so maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah. No,
But
you're
in terms
right,
of
though.
recent ones, like the Californians, that's another one that people love. It's very funny, but it's more few and far between in recent memory, and I think that's why I think it's again broken record. I swear it's the last time I'll say it.
You're right, though.
They've leaned too heavily on impressions, and like Matt Damon coming in and playing fucking Kavanaugh or whatever. It's like whatever. It's like it's not funny to me anymore.
You're right. Chief, you're up. You need a female.
I'll take Molly Shannon. So Molly Shannon, she was in the NPR ones. She had the Superstar. That was not an SNL movie, I guess. I didn't see it.
Superstar
really
was.
bad.
It was? It was on
Yeah.
the list? I thought that was an okay skit. I feel like she was like a nice complimentary. You don't like Molly Shannon?
I fucking hate that movie, and I don't know that I've ever seen more than like 10 minutes of it total.
That's all you need.
The Superstar skit is
Yeah, the Superstar.
I don't know that I've
skits.
seen the sketch either, but
yeah, the movie is really bad.
Yeah.
all of these
Again.
movies outside the first 3 are I think Wayne's World 2 is an abomination.
Oh, I'll
an
watch
abomination.
Wayne's World, too.
I mean, to each your own,
Yeah.
but I mean, a few of these movies are like everybody's got those movies that are so bad that they like them. Like for me, Jeff, have you seen The Happening? I'll watch that movie start to finish
Happening
every
is one of
time.
the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
It's
so
horrific, but I'll watch it every time it's on. And it's just one of the, like
I like Molly Shannon, though.
Yeah.
but that movie's so bad I just refuse to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's other. Everyone has a female now, right, or no?
Yeah, well, let's just wrap it up,
Yeah.
and then we'll get into the show. So you like the pick, though, Jeff? That wasn't your other? I'm interested to hear your honorable mention, who the other one was. Unless if it was
yeah,
Molly
no,
Shannon.
that's a great pick. I'm not looking where The Happening is ranked on my worst movie of all time. It's very close.
All right.
Happening bad.
My last pick, by Mr. Irrelevant, I need a guest host. I was going to go John Goodman there because I wanted that super fans factor. He's also hosted a bunch. Fuck it, I'm going to stay with John Goodman. I'm going to stay.
Good. What?
He
I thought
also-
didn't we just say he was not Superfans?
No, he was not.
He's not. But when he guest hosted, they brought it for him a lot.
Oh,
like it was like
okay, all right,
it was
all
like
right.
one day, or at least he did it once. I should
They've
say.
done 2 of those, I believe.
Okay, then he was definitely in it. He also tried out for it in 1980, and he got rejected along with Jim Carrey and Paul Rubens.
So we should talk about that. So Jim Carrey got rejected like a bunch of times,
Yeah.
from what I understand, and obviously, I read a story. My dad actually told me the story. I've heard otherwise, but Jim Carrey, he was like really struggling, like living in a van down by the river, so to speak, and he wrote himself a
$1
check for
story?
$1 million and post-dated it a year down the road. Ended up being able to cash it because he became famous in all his movies, blah blah blah. But he got rejected from SNL a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And then ended up being a guest host, and
A
he was
bunch
on
of
the
times,
Night of
yeah.
Roxbury.
So yeah, I
sketch.
guess him, Goodman, and Paul Rubens is Pee Wee Herman. If you guys don't know,
I did not know that.
They all got rejected that same year in 1980.
And
I
I
guess.
didn't know that Adam Sandler got fired.
Yeah, there's a bunch
I
of
found
good
that
stories
today,
in that book.
just Googling around.
And John Goodman just I can't name a bunch of shit he did, but I bet he was fucking like he's just one of those guys. It's just
I saw him recently,
just a warm man.
and
Yeah.
he is a handsome older man now.
John Goodman?
Oh yeah, 7 years old. I think it
feel
looks
like-
great.
I feel like I know they've done alumni shows before the 40th anniversary or whatever. I kind of feel like they should bring these people back for like a month. And because there's a lot of these alumni who aren't doing a whole lot, at least that's how it seems. Let them do SNL for like, just come back for like, have a Superstar episode once a year.
Do something. Yeah.
I think that would, like, maybe that's how you.
Yeah, but
get
maybe
some
it's
life
kind of
into
like
it.
when you're like your time's done and you don't view it as like hey, it's not my time, it's their time.
But maybe fun once a year.
Yeah.
And if I don't know what the ratings are now, but it feels like it's really lost steam.
It's touch.
So
I think I would imagine that it's lost a ton of steam because of how political they've gotten. Not that they always haven't been, but it seems like it's gotten worse and worse over the last handful of years.
And yet here we are doing a draft about it. So
Yeah.
like it is still culturally relevant. And,
Oh, definitely.
Fuck yeah, they
I
still
know.
get massive people to fucking
Right?
host
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I still think the quality isn't what we think of with Saturday Night Live, but they do fine digitally, right? Like I feel like there's frequently stories on the
Yeah.
blog about like this happened and this happened, and then the commentary is like, well, Saturday Night Live isn't what it used to be. We're still talking about it though.
Yeah, I watched that Chappelle episode a couple months ago, and there were some funny
You said it was
sketches
good,
too.
right? Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
it was good.
I loved it.
We could have done a category for musical acts that bombed,
Yeah, I was
like
I
bad
yes.
musical acts.
I debated
Dude, I mean,
moment.
you probably could have done commercials. You probably could have done shorts. Like
Yeah.
you could have really. I think this worked out well. The movie thing is. I'm glad you did it because it's kind of a funny discussion.
Yeah,
So stupid.
exactly.
yeah, I hope people are like, would no Tommy Boy, Black Sheep.
Yeah,
I didn't
Yeah,
like
that's
Black
what
Sheep
I'm
that much
saying.
either.
Like, I think even more than those two. Like, I think Popstar and Hot Rod, which are great comedies, are adjacent to SNL, but they don't count.
You could say Mean Girls too.
Yeah, Mean Girls too. Exactly. I'll read it through real quick here, and then we'll get into it a little bit, and we'll get out of here. Jeff, Justin Timberlake, Dan Aykroyd, Celebrity Jeopardy, Rachel Dratch, Waynesboro 2, White Sox Dave, Will Ferrell, Motivational Speaker Sketch, Night at the Roxbury, Anna Gasteyer, Peyton Manning, Carl, Christopher Walken, Chris Farley, Kate McKinnon, MacGruber, Superfans, Chief Wayne's World, Alec Baldwin, Chippendale Audition, Norm MacDonald, Molly Shannon, Eddie, the Blues Brothers, Tina Fey, Eddie Murphy, Olympia Cafe, John Goodman. Ton of males. I mean, Belushi, Myers, Hartman, Hader, Bill Murray,
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy
Tracy
Morgan.
Carvey, Tracy Morgan,
Carvey,
Dana Carvey is.
Chevy Chase,
Yeah.
Adam Sandler.
Do we say Steve Martin?
No Amy Poehler, no Kristen Wiig. People will
No,
be pissed
someone
about
dragged
that.
Kristen Wiig is my number one. Kristen Wiig,
Oh, I guess
again,
not.
original characters. Kristen Wiig has Target Lady is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Target Lady will get me going every time. Justin Timberlake is in one of the Target Lady sketches. Gilda Radner, obviously.
Yeah.
OG.
Yes.
And I mentioned Sherry when we mentioned Dratch and Gasteyer, I mentioned Sherry O'Terry as well.
Yeah.
I don't think Cowbell.
See,
was
I
drafted, was
lump
it?
all those four together with Molly Shannon,
Shit for that.
Sherry O'Terry, and I feel like Kristen Wiig, like I had fallen off. Like I couldn't think of
That
anything.
time?
Yeah.
But
I
people
couldn't
like
think-
she's like definitely like Jeff. She's like known as like one of the most talented ever, right, Jeff? Kristen Wiig, I think. But
Oh yeah, she's just unbelievable on that show. Because
Yeah.
again, it's her ability to take any character and make it just laugh out loud funny. And she was someone who, again, in terms of original characters, she has probably some of the more memorable ones. Target Lady's a very memorable original character.
Jeff, can you talk to me about Brian Fellows?
Brian Fellow. So my four sketches were that I was like, I'm gonna get one of these hopefully. Celebrity Jeopardy, Debbie Downer, which I took Dratch, Matt Foley, Brian Fellows, Safari Planet.
It's so fucking. Is that a clubbing seal? I heard seals like to party. He's like, actually, that's
I
when
rewatched
people
a couple
club
earlier.
seal.
I could have taken it one like that. Brian Fellows, Safari Planet.
They bring out a
is-
tarantula.
Get it? It's that absurdist. It's that absurdist humor.
Yeah.
And Tracy Morgan is so damn good at
Yeah.
Brian Fellow.
And he doesn't break character.
Right.
It's like how does he keep it straight? He's like, that's a fuzzy bug.
And I feel like, Jeff, to your point about how they can't end skits anymore, I feel like his sign-offs from the Brian Fellows were always perfect. Next week, we got a
Right.
dog and a baby dog. It was just like, let's
then
get
he
out of
always
here.
gets like-
yeah, a little sassy too. Yeah.
like all set.
Maya Rudolph.
Yeah, I was never a big Maya Rudolph.
Brian Fellows, Safari Planet.
I think Maya Rudolph's a funnier movie actress than she was in SNL. She's very funny in SNL, but I always find Maya Rudolph funnier in movies. She plays a very, very short role, and very not quotable by me. In Popstar, she plays a character named Deborah, and her and Tim Meadows have a very quick back and forth. Again, you need to look it up. I am not allowed. I cannot say it, but it is very funny. Her and Tim Meadows have a very funny rapport in the movie Pop Star.
Okay.
But I like Maya Rudolph better in movies than I like her on SNL.
And Steve Martin has the record. He guest hosted 16 times.
Yeah.
He was my top guest.
Yeah.
And the skit that I was referencing recently people brought the King Tut sketch back up, and they were like, "We're cancel Steve Martin," but it was like, you don't think you watch the sketch. Like that's the point. Like there's like nuance to it. But yeah, Steve Martin is so funny as a guest host. He's another one though where you're like you sometimes forget that he just wasn't a cast member.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would have guessed that he was a cast member.
Yeah.
That's a guy that when my dad used to travel to Brazil for work all the time, he would get like people like, "Can I have your autograph? Can I take a picture?" They thought he was Steve Martin, and then he would like eventually just be like, "Fine," and he would just start
hilarious.
signing autographs
I
at a
would
restaurant
love
as
to
Steve Martin.
Be that guy.
That's
if I was
hilarious.
somebody one day.
Any other sketches really quick? We said sweaty balls. More cowbell. We're definitely gonna get shit for, like you said, Dave.
There's one that was on that Will Ferrell best of that it was him and Garth Brooks, and Will Ferrell was the devil and Garth Brooks was trying to sell his soul.
Oh.
It is a hilarious sketch. It's all
It ends
time.
with like it's Will Ferrell dressed up as one of the most over the top
Yes.
makeup jobs as the devil, and he's just so
Like 6 hours
Yeah,
of makeup for him to be the devil in that sketch. Yeah.
Jeff, have you ever seen the sketch with Robert De Niro? He's the director of Homeland Security. I don't think
I have, but I don't remember. But I know I do know what you're talking about.
Do you think that would play in the year 2022?
Maybe not. That one I wouldn't think about as much on that one. I don't remember that sketch. I know exactly the sketch you're talking about though. Another person I'll bring up is Phil Hart. We did bring up Phil Hart.
Yeah,
briefly.
you got to talk about Phil
I
Hart
think
on
in
SNL.
terms of my favorite cast members, not just within the show, Phil Hartman is on just another plane of existence in terms of funny.
Yeah. And
Troy McClure.
he's like the
Right, that was something. Yeah.
the comics comic. I know that for the
A lot
people-
of-
It's I mean there are the Rachel Dratch Will Ferrell hot tub sketch.
Yeah.
That's another one. There's just you know my favorite Chris Farley sketches maybe. I don't know if it's the best. Like in terms of like if you polled everyone, the Japanese game show with Mike
It's so
Myers,
fucking
Chris
funny.
Farley is
God!
probably my favorite.
He's just severing his fingers off. But Mike Myers in that, I'm assuming he's actually speaking Japanese, and it is so fucking funny because Chris Farley just keeps looking around like, how the fuck did I get here? And every time he speaks, there's like a little pause, and it's like, ding, ding, ding. It just keeps
We didn't even really mention digital shorts, by the way.
No, we did not.
I guess
'Cause,
Peyton
I mean-
Manning was technically a digital short.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
was-
United Way was.
yeah.
But, I mean, Dick in a Box. That was obviously Justin Timberlake.
Oh, yeah,
one of
that's
his
right.
guests. Jizz in my pants. Great day like a boss. Threw it on the
Jizz
ground. The OC spoof, the Dear Sister OC spoof with Andy Samberg and what's his face? Shia LaBeouf, Laser Cats. Yeah, there's so many of those. Ambiguously Gay Duo, if you want to talk about TV
That's a good
Funhouse.
one. That was the cartoon.
A lot of good
The
ones.
little fucking thing would like pop out of the wheel and just go down the throat.
Just two here, the Gap Girls. You know, like lay off me, I'm starving.
Yeah.
Lay off me, I'm starving.
That's a really
John,
good one.
could have been. That's right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really, really funny.
I feel like we should
and then
redraft right now
it's
because
like-
a few of these had to be drafted. Like I forgot about
Just
Japanese
blog
game.
them. Just blog them.
5, yeah.
I don't know how
Schmidt-
often
Schmidt-
Sandler,
I know
Spade,
Farley
and
is Schmidt's
Farley.
gay.
Church lady.
Yeah, Schmidt's gay.
Yeah.
And then the other one, this is a very random deep cut. I don't know if you know this one yet, but like Joshua Jackson hosted. It might have been right around the time like when Skulls came out or something.
Pacey.
And him and Horatio Sands did a skit where they were wedding singers, and they only learned like the first verse of a Cutting Crew song, and they're just screaming at.
I just died in your arms tonight.
Yeah, and if it was anybody other than Joshua Jackson and Horatio Sands, I think it would be recognized as one of the great SNL skits. It's hard to find too, but it's just a wonderful thing because they're just screaming at the bride Or no, it's Horatio Sands and maybe it's Wolf. I don't know. Joshua Jackson's the fucking grooms. I'm butchering this.
I think no, you're right. It's Farrell and Horatio Sands.
Yeah, okay.
And they can't get past. I just died in your arms tonight. It must have been something, and like I think that's all they get.
Must have been something you said.
You said it's hard to find because that is very funny.
Is Horatio Sands? It's in the background of Cowbell, because we should talk about Cowbell. It deserves a little outside from just a mention. But it's Fallon and Horatio Sands in the background just losing it, right?
Yeah, Chris Kattan.
And Chris Kattan's, yeah.
The rhythm player is the guy who's like the career SNL guy. The shorter, just like round face, very humble, looks like a John or a Brad or something.
There's the I Wish It Was Christmas Today skit where they're just playing Jimmy Fallon, Tracy Morgan, Horatio Sands. That's a great Christmas one. Another great Christmas one, too, is Anna Gasteyer as Martha Stewart. She's topless with her Christmas special.
Yeah.
She's wearing like a dickie, and then they zoom out. Yeah.
All right, Jeff.
I mean, you can go on commercials, too.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You could go forever on commercials.
Colon blow.
I remember that. There was, was it Aspackle?
Oops, I crap my pants.
Aspackle? Was that what it was called? Where it was like for plumbers, and you get plumber's pants obviously when you're bending over, and they would just take spackle and like spackle the ass crack. Yeah. And they sold it in different races. So if you're white, you got the white color. If you're black, it was.
Oops, I crap my pants, and then a recent one, Taco Town, was always a funny one too with Bill Hader and Andy Samberg.
I bet you if Andy, because I think Andy Samberg's fucking hilarious. If he were on like the mid '90s, I think he would fit right in.
Oh yeah, for sure. Those guys are just on another level too. Yeah.
All right, Jeff. Thank you, sir. This was fun.
No, that was a fun one. Yeah, I told you this was up my alley. Though the Carl's point is kind of funny. A lot of these ones we talked about, I think people are going to maybe look them up and have a hard time finding them.
Probably.
They're not as easy to find, but yeah, there's some good ones
for sure. All right, then. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for watching. That's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We will see you then.